We are back. Relationshit. We're here. We're in the building. And we are with the CEO of Bachelor Nation. This is what I consider you, okay? CEO of Bachelor Nation, star of The Bachelor Season 21, and host of the Viall Files podcast, Nick Viall.
Thanks for having me.
Did I say it right?
You're great.
Okay. I was saying I've heard people mispronounce it. I didn't want to be one of those people.
I sometimes mispronounce it. It's fine.
Say it for us.
Viall.
This is for the record. For anyone who's mispronouncing it, now you have it on tape to say it properly.
There you go.
From now on.
Thanks. I definitely should change it to like Ginger Z, the meteorologist on Good Morning America. Like, she told me this story. Like, her last name is, I don't know, something very long that starts with the Z. And she just changed it to Z-E-E. I'm like, that's fucking genius. I should have just been like Nick V.
V. I would use it.
Like Gary V. You never heard, like that influencer guy? I don't know. He's like a tech guy.
Definitely not.
His last name is definitely not V, but he did the same thing as Ginger, I know.
I'm not on that side of TikTok. The TikTok is not.
It's wild.
Is not my jam. But do you know? So I have to tell you, I only started watching The Bachelor and like becoming fully enthralled in Bachelor Nation, Hannah Brown's season.
Okay.
So I had no idea that you were The Bachelor. I just knew
I
knew that you were the handsome white man who pops up on my TikTok, who has a hot girlfriend, who like gives me advice that I don't want to hear, but that I need to hear. That's how I knew you.
I'm sorry. I feel like sometimes like my audience gets mad at me on TikTok, but there's also like thanks, but I wasn't in the mood in the moment.
That's how I feel. Because yours always pop up on my FYP in the morning. For some reason.
Last time you want to hear like some hard facts about your choices.
I'm like on the toilet and you're like reading me. And I'm like, damn. But he's right.
Yeah.
So when did you become like an expert on life? Because I feel like you have really good insights, just shit that people don't want to hear.
Yeah, I definitely don't refer to myself as an expert. I'm just a guy who's experienced some shit, and I've invested a lot of energy trying to be honest with myself about my choices in life, and then I just kind of became the friend to just my actual friends who would give them, an honest answer. And also part of my personality is I just have a hard time bullshitting.
Yeah, same.
So I'm just like, fuck, I just don't have the energy. So like, can I just tell you what's going on?
Yeah.
And, with certain friends, they would really appreciate it at the right time. And then after The Bachelor, I started doing this thing. I was home for Thanksgiving, and that's not too long after that, Instagram released like Ask Me Anything, And so I was like, I'll just do this. And some people like threw in a relationship question, and I started doing that and kind of gave that kind of snarky but honest response, and it kind of blew up after that. And then with the podcast, it's something I felt like I always knew I was good at, and I knew that both in a good and a bad way, it would surprise people, because if you knew me like from a public standpoint, you didn't know me as like, oh, this is the guy I should go to for advice. It was the unlucky in love guy from The Bachelor, but it's kind of worked out. And like I said, I think I'm just very careful, especially like whenever I'm giving my 2 cents, or even on the Viall Files where I have my Ask Nick episodes where people will call in and like literally be like, hey, this is my situation, what's going on? I'm very careful not to diagnose them, certainly clinically or anything like that. I might, say, hey, it could be this, but again, I'm not an expert. But all I really do is help people see their situation through a slightly more honest lens. We have a way of lying to ourselves.
Those rose-colored glasses be hitting hard every time.
And so that's all I really do, is just kind of re-engineer what they're telling me, and I kind of just listen for the lies that they're telling themselves. Which we all do. And I've been as guilty as anyone, especially early in my dating life, and so that's how I kind of got to where I am today.
Yeah. What is your Zodiac sign?
Libra.
Wow. Look, our producer's like...
All I know is that like it's a balance thing, which I guess, when people tell me about that, it makes sense. I definitely... I try not to react any one direction, and there's always another point of view.
Right. Which is, I'm a Libra moon, and I feel like I'm a Scorpio, so
Okay.
I'm like, they're bullshitting you, but maybe they could be telling you the truth. Or like, there are two sides to every story.
Well, you can know someone's bullshitting you, and then still empathize with why they might be bullshitting you, which doesn't. And I've learned this especially recently, or been reminded that with the world that we're in, we often confuse empathy with defending someone or making excuses for them. Like, no, you're just trying to empathize with why they're doing and saying what they're doing, and you can still hold someone accountable.
Yeah.
All while empathizing with someone.
Yeah. And you can choose to not be a part of it. You can choose to not participate if you don't like the way that someone's going about something.
Totally.
It's okay to call them out. It's okay to see it for what it is, but it's okay to be like, actually, I'm going to like bow out of this and not participate.
Which is usually what you should do, because how many times when I'll get a question, it's always like, well, why are they doing this?
Yeah.
What does it mean? Why are they doing that? So like empathizing with their situation just helps you understand why they're doing it. So then you can be like, oh, well, fuck. And then maybe they're just bored.
Yeah.
Whatever. Maybe that's it.
Yeah.
Maybe you're empathizing with their boredom. But...
Or your advice. You'll be like, he's just not that into you. And that's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
I don't really say it. I mean,
you do say it like that. I've seen it. Yeah. I see it every scroll.
It's good to know.
It is good to know. You want to know, like, not to waste your time, pretty much.
Also, like, there's a lot of times she's not into him either.
Right.
Or her.
Right.
Or whatever it is.
Sometimes people just aren't into people, and that's just what it is. This is, like, not even a part of what we're even talking about, but you have a big-ass family.
I do, yeah.
You are one of 11.
I am, yeah.
Where do you fall in that?
I'm the second oldest.
So you're used to having to give, like, advice then. It's, like, innate.
Yeah, which probably irritates... Like, I don't think my younger siblings like that.
Right, of course. I'm the oldest, too, and they love it, but they hate it. But they still come to you.
They definitely hate it, and they do come to me, and I get annoyed when they're like, well, it'd just be nice if you could just, like, be my brother and not my... It's like, yeah, I know. And I'm sure I've gotten it wrong in the past, but even now when I'm just like, oh, no, like, they'll still pick up the phone and ask for favors or questions.
Course.
And I'll be like, well, I thought you didn't want... but hey, it's family.
You got to pick up the phone. Yeah. You're going to pick it up every time.
Family doesn't have to like you, just love you.
Facts. I like to preface my advice, like, especially with my friends, because I know how I am and I know how my delivery can come across. I always double check. I'm like, are you sure you want my advice? Are you sure you want me to tell you? And if they say yes, now the portal's open.
That's smart. I do that. I've learned to do that too.
Yeah, because sometimes they think that they want the truth, but they really don't.
Yeah, it works on my show because they're literally calling in.
Yeah, right.
But like, that's something I've had to learn too, is to, just because you might have something to say, it doesn't mean you should say it. And if they're not ready to hear it, then you just become the bad guy anyways.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot, especially on Catfish, the show that I work on. Yeah. Which, speaking of Wish, this is not a sponsored post by Wish. Speaking of which, your girlfriend, Fire, slid into your DMs.
Yeah.
How did you not... Did it ever come to your mind that, like, this could be a catfish? Like, this could not be a real person?
100%. That's why I carded her.
You literally told her to send her ID?
Oh, yeah.
Next to her face.
Yeah, no, I mentioned this on my friend Shirley and Andy's podcast when we went on, but I FaceTimed her on Snapchat. Because she was like, what's your Snapchat? And I was like, okay, a red flag. And
I'm not even on Snapchat. I would be like...
I have it, but I don't really use it. And I FaceTimed her with the camera facing the ceiling.
So you were on some catfish shit.
So that she couldn't see me.
Yeah.
And I was like, show me your ID.
Yeah.
And she did.
Damn. Yeah. She's a good one, because I would have been like, you know what? But honestly...
She is, yeah. She's great, because, like, that's the thing. She had nothing to hide.
Yeah, right.
And I think sometimes... I think people need to be safe these days with catfishing. I mean,
mask fishing, hat fishing.
Yeah, you don't really know who you're talking to, or if people say who they really are, and I don't really respond to DMs for the most part, but and she piqued my curiosity, and I was like, is this worth? I don't know. And then, but I still was like, as soon as I responded, I was very careful and on high alert, because you just never know. And like in the past, like I'm sure I've been catfished early, like especially in my early going in the show days, where you're like naive and dumb and I didn't really understand social media.
Yeah.
And you're just like, wait, this seems weird. Like, why are they, huh? And if you're not thinking about it, but yeah, I'm sure I have 100%.
I mean, I have. Not like in a romantic way, but a friend catfished me, and it was horrible. Because you can be catfished by people that you know in real life. Like, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a weird thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I've never been catfished like it was like an ongoing thing. I caught it pretty quickly, but it was just like, wait, why? You know, because it was more like, yeah, you're reaching out, like whatever, like, hey, let's get together, and then all of a sudden the excuses flow, and you're just like, wait, why did I believe anything?
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why, like, when I responded in Allie, the first thing I did is Carter.
Yeah. I think that was wise.
Yeah.
Coming from a professional. I think that was a wise thing to do. I wish more people did that. And honestly, even just the FaceTiming was like a step that a lot of people miss. So, kudos to you.
Thanks.
Good job. You guys are so cute. Okay, so obviously today's episode is all about ultimatums. When to give them, if to give them, how to give them. Because a lot of people don't know how to stand up for themselves. A lot of people don't know how to kind of like cut the cord.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. I
feel like I usually know the reason. The reason
Tell
is
us.
Fear of disappointment.
Long dramatic pause, because that's actually very true. Because you don't want to give that ultimatum and then have the person be like, actually, I'm going to choose the latter.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Not always.
be out.
I'm sure there's other options, but for the most part,
Yeah.
I would, unscientific guess, like 95% of the time we don't know when to cut the cord is because we're not ready to accept the answer we don't want to hear.
Yeah. Have you ever had to give an ultimatum that like you didn't want to have to do, but you had to do it? You knew you had to do it.
For sure, plenty of times. I don't know how much I really meant it at the time, but like, my first girlfriend, we're 18 and 19 years old, and you look back, I was toxic as shit, but like, every time she'd break up with me because she found a new guy, at the same time she was just telling me I was doing something, we were young and 19 years old, and then we had the whole break up, not really be together, kind of still hang out, and then finally I was like, I don't want to I'm done. And then that's when she would like
no,
strap her bullshit, but like, it's like young love.
Right.
So that comes to mind.
Have you ever been given an ultimatum that was like, oh shit, let me get my shit together right now?
Yeah, to a certain degree, Natalie did that with me.
We love to hear it.
Yeah.
We
I
stand
mean, like
a queen.
early on in day, like when we first met, again, I'm an overly guarded person. We lived in different states. I wasn't sure if we were in different stages of our life, and I was just like, and I hadn't been in a serious committed relationship outside of the show for like 9 years. It was really hard for me to figure out like how to like get in the pocket, so to speak. Like, how do I know whether this is someone I should really invest in? That was just really slow. We were always very honest and very upfront. Like there was no game playing in the, and part of the reason why I got more and more comfortable with her is just she was very good at always being upfront. She was never afraid of not getting the answer she didn't want to hear.
Damn.
And it really made me really respect her. And so just a couple times she knew she was always in control of her feelings, if that makes sense, where she knew every time she did it, she didn't do it in a way where it felt like a threat. And it didn't feel like a reaction. It was just like, she calmly just like, this is where I'm in right now. And I'm no longer like, it was like, she could tell she was losing control of her feelings. And before she got to that point, at the risk of not getting what she wanted, she prioritized her feelings over her disappointment. And so she was always just like, I don't want, I'm good. And then she really was just like gone. it's just it wasn't a threat, you know.
Yeah.
It's just like, I'm just gonna go date other people, and she was gonna be like, I'm gonna be totally fine doing it, and I was like, fuck.
What's her sign?
Her birthday is August 31st, so what's that?
Virgo. Yeah. Oh yeah. Good for her.
So,
We love that.
yeah.
We love that. She's like, listen, this is where I'm at, and this is what I'm doing. You decide what you want to do
Yeah,
based off of that.
It was never like, she was always, she was always very in control. Like
Yeah.
I said, I believe that she wasn't doing it as an ultimatum, and she wasn't afraid of being disappointed.
Damn. We all got to be like Natalie Joy. All right, because sometimes I'd be threatening. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, we're all human.
Sometimes I let my rising Virgo speak for me, and I'm like, this is where I'm at. But other times the Scorpio speaks for me, and it's like, fuck you, I'm done. Goodbye. That's not the way to go about it.
You're not really done?
No, never. Never. A little masochism never hurt anybody. You know, that's how I get down.
Yeah, we're human.
Yeah, we are. Do you ever feel like there's a point where no ultimatum is necessary? It's just like, it's time to end things.
Oh, I'm sure. Can you give me more of like a specific example?
Like cheating, for example.
Yeah.
If someone's cheating on you, is it okay to be like, hey, listen, like, is it necessary to have a conversation with someone and be like, this is how I feel about this? Like, if you keep doing this, or is it a situation where it's like, if they're cheating on you, it's probably because they're not interested?
Well, I think anyone can break up with anyone for any reason whatsoever.
Period.
And sometimes I think we confuse that. Like, would it be nice to get closure from the person you're dating and sit down and have the talk, or the 5 talks that you probably want to have because you're really not listening to them? That's nice.
Yeah.
But like, we are allowed to break up with people, and sometimes we forget that in relationships.
And even friendships too.
Friendships, any relationship,
Yeah.
of any kind. I don't think we need someone's permission to break it off. And cheating, something like that. Like, it's one of those things too. Like, it's one of those things where someone could cheat, and they might have their reasons why they stepped out or why they weren't happy. Maybe their boyfriend or girlfriend was toxic or verbally abusive or whatever. That still doesn't like justify the cheating. You can break up, you can leave, you could end it, right? Like, so again, that's where you can empathize and not justify at the same time. But if someone cheats on you, I don't think you need to explain yourself why you don't want to be in a relationship, you know, or why you're just done, or why you're not willing to work it out. And like I said, I don't think you have to ever work it out. You don't you don't owe anyone like couples therapy if you're just like, I don't know, I'm not getting what I want anymore, and then maybe it's not you, maybe there's nothing you can do. I don't have those feelings anymore, and that can be very hurtful, and that can be hard to hear, but you still have a right to leave. Yeah.
And some people, honestly, I don't know who needs to hear this, some people don't deserve closure from you. Some people, like, you don't, and some people you also may not get an apology from.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just closure. I don't know. You never get closure from that person, because also, like, think about, like, if you don't want to break up and they're breaking up with you, what could they say that's going to give you closure in the moment? What
Nothing.
Love letter have you ever written?
Nothing.
Where the other person was like, oh yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't want that, and they do. So truthfully, in the short run, you're not going to get closure from them. You're going to have those, like, can we talk again?
Yeah,
you know?
For the 30th time.
And they're like, fine, I fucking guess, you know? And you really don't want it. Closure is always going to come from you accepting that the relationship's over, and then, you know, and then, like, having the self-awareness to say, all right, I'm going to pause. Yeah, my feelings are hurt. Yeah, I'm heartbroken. But, like, am I even happy? Was I getting what I wanted? Like, is it how much of is my ego playing a role into my hurt? And these are all very difficult things to be self-aware in the moment, but that's where real closure comes from. And is it nice if we dated someone who did hurt us, who didn't appreciate us, and you know, maybe they cheated on us, etc. Is it nice to maybe get that phone call or that letter, you know, or email a year down the road saying, hey, for what it's worth, I'm sorry?
Yeah.
Yes, it's super nice. It's nice to hear, and it feels good, but that we don't need that to move on.
Right.
And we definitely give our exes way too much power in relationships that they don't deserve or need, because it just comes down to, like, we don't want to let go.
Right.
So
No,
we tell them,
so
so it's like,
true.
oh, I need you for closure. It's like, no, you don't want
No.
closure. You want to be in a relationship.
Yeah, it's true. They're like, I have to come over. I left my hair tie.
Yeah. It's like, I need closure.
I just
No.
need closure. Like,
No, you want to convince me to change my mind.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, guilty. We all are guilty.
I've been there. I mean, again, like everything I say, it's because I've been on the bad side of all these choices. you
Yeah.
know?
Well, there are some people who need your advice, and we have a lot of people who wrote in their stories,
Yeah, let's go.
and we got to help them because they need it. Some people have chosen to remain anonymous for whatever reason, so we're going to respect that. Okay, so this message comes from Jen. Jen says, so I've been intimate with a guy for 3 years. Recently, he told me he just wants me. Every time I try to make plans with him, he doesn't reply to my messages. I'm confused. Does he want me to be his girlfriend or just a girl he has sex with? What should I do?
So has she asked him that question she's asking us?
That's a
Let's
good
start
question.
Let's start there.
Probably not. I'm going to assume no.
Yeah, I think it's, you know, she said, I'm confused. I think that's a very honest thing to say, and I think that's it's a red flag in the sense that you should listen to the fact that you can say you're confused. And your confusion usually means that, like, they're not clear with their actions and words.
3 years and he's just now telling you?
Yeah,
that he wants you.
So again, you make a great point. So for 3 years, she's been accepting less than what she thinks she deserves, but she's too afraid to ever bring it up. She's definitely taken a more passive approach in this relationship. He definitely holds all the power in this relationship. So just based off of, like, those simple facts alone, it would seem like unhealthy.
Yeah.
The fact that she is afraid to ask that question, and no judgment, because there's a lot of we all can be in that situation. But yeah, I would ask him, and my guess is most likely he might say something like, I mean, you're great, and if I wanted a girlfriend, you would be my girlfriend, but I don't want a girlfriend, and
I love spending time with you.
I love spending time with you, and it's just like, great.
That's not the same as I want to be in a relationship with you, by the way.
For sure. It's all about it's all about priorities,
Right.
You know, we all have shit going on, and this guy is not willing to make her a priority. You know, again, going back to my relationship, at the end of the day, like, I had my reasons at the time where I didn't want to, you know, be in a committed relationship with Natalie.
Yeah.
And she had her reasons to be like, congratulations for your priorities. They don't align with mine. Peace.
Yeah.
You know? And she just wasn't afraid to bring that up. So I just think, A, she should ask, and B, she should accept the reality that she is almost virtually powerless in this relationship, and she should want to have that not be the case.
Damn,
It
sis.
should make her mad.
Yeah. Well, what about, because I feel like a lot of times when people are in this kind of space, the other person will be like, I'm just really busy right now.
Yeah. I don't care how busy you are. You make time for the people you want to make time for. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, and especially men. You know, and I speak this as a heterosexual male who's busy and doesn't have a lot of time for a lot of people. But and I don't plan. I fucking hate planning. I can't plan for shit. But I'll tell you what, like, I step up when I want to make an impression for the people I want to make an impression with, and I will carve out time and I'll reschedule for. Guys will literally do anything for a woman they're excited for.
The earth.
Yes.
Like they say, if he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, 100%.
So he's not that busy. Okay.
He's definitely not busy. And in this relationship, for her, like I said, I think the biggest thing is the 3 years and she doesn't know means he has so much power, and she needs to shake that up. In fact, I don't think she should ask him, what are we? At all. Never ask what we are.
No.
Just say, this is what I want.
Right.
You know, Natalie wasn't like, so like, will you date me?
Yeah.
No, she was like, I fucking like you.
Yeah.
I think we should date. Here's why.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do about it?
I love that. I feel like more people need to be like that.
Yeah, but it's hard to do.
Yeah, true.
And I haven't always done that, but that's what I would do in this situation.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. This one's from Paige. Here is the tea. I started seeing this man who is my literal soulmate. I've known him in a past life, and he completes me without even trying. About a month into getting to know him, he drops the bomb that he's engaged. But his lady is over in London to someone else.
I mean, the beginning of the story is just littered with red flags.
It's fucked. It's all fucked. Okay. He drops the bomb that he's engaged, but his lady lives in London. We live in Philadelphia. Yeah, we. Him and I. Okay. For her doctorate. So their relationship is open. Okay. When the UK shut down because of COVID, she flew back to Philly to finish the rest of her semester virtually. This man and I cut off ties, and it's heartbreaking. We both sat in my room and cried. It's been months since I've talked to him. I'd love for him to still be a part of my life because he did so much of healing my past trauma, but I know I'll always love him and be jealous of his relationship. Tell me, what do we think? I wanted to home wreck. She says sorry in parentheses. But I know it's wrong. How do I bridge the gap without hurting myself or jeopardizing his current relationship?
Well, I guess what's the gap she's trying to bridge?
There is no gap.
Unclear.
It's either you're having an affair or you're not.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I certainly don't believe in soulmates.
Really?
Do you?
I believe that we have soulmates, but I think you can have several. I don't think that there's just one, and I think that you don't always end up with your soulmate.
Okay.
And I think your soulmates can be like your friends. I don't think your soulmate has to be romantic.
Yeah. Okay. But there's
What do
definitely
you
not.
think?
I just definitely don't think there is one person in this universe that somehow we have to find. And if we don't,
We're
like,
gonna,
she's
it'll be a
just
disaster.
like, he's my soulmate,
Yeah.
and he just happens to be in this other relationship. She's acknowledging some potential trauma bonding, you know, like and I don't doubt that he was very helpful to her or was played a role in some sort of support system, and I think you can appreciate that about him. And again, like you can be in a toxic as fuck relationship and have it end and look back and be like, you know what, that was bad. We were bad to each other. I'm glad we're out of it, but like I learned a lot and I appreciate them, and maybe we both can be accountable for why that relationship was toxic. And I think, you know, this clearly has some toxic elements to it. So
he wasn't going to tell you that he was engaged when he started talking to you.
Yeah, and like, how does she know it's open? Because he says it's open. Has he checked with her? Like, how open is it? I'm curious. But yeah, so she can. I guess my point is, you can appreciate what he brought into your life and maybe helped you out, and still accept that there's a bunch of other reasons why he's not your guy. And so my guess is over glorifying how he made her feel,
Right.
and then assigning this label of soulmate to her because she hasn't found it somewhere else. And just because you haven't found, you know, just because someone's the first to bring something in your life, you want to assign some sort of label to it, like soulmate, but maybe it's just the first time you were able to experience a guy who was emotionally open and made you feel safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
But they can also still be bad for you and toxic overall just because he was a good listener and brought something that maybe a past boyfriend didn't.
Right.
So, I would definitely just leave and walk away
Yes.
and accept that, you know, and stop glorifying things.
Yeah.
You know, like I always say, like, you know, people have a hard time. This is what this girl should do. You know, people always talk about pros and cons list. Maybe you saw this on my TikTok, but you should make a list of things you're hopeful for and things you're grateful for, right? Because hope is great. It's great to have hope. Not great to be hopeful about your relationship when you're in a relationship. You know, having hope in a relationship is just a sign or a list of things you're not getting in a relationship. And if you're hopeful for it, that means you know that you need that in a relationship. There are elements of that you need to feel nourished, your heart needs in a relationship, and the things you're grateful for, especially if you're in a relationship and you're just like, well, I like him and he's great, but like, you know, maybe he, you know, that you're irritated about some things, but you are grateful for a long list of things, and maybe that's things that you're grateful for is a reminder of like, that might be really hard to find with someone else because you're really truly grateful for it. So I bet if she were to make a list of things she's grateful for, she'd be grateful for what he did to make her feel, whatever, what she acknowledged. And then she'd make a list of all those other things, like, doesn't have a fiance,
commitment,
doesn't,
isn't about to marry another bitch.
I bet that list would be pretty long. And so I think she should do that to like open it up. Cause like if your list of things you're hopeful for is much longer than the list of things you're grateful for, they're definitely not your soulmate.
Yeah. And there's no ultimatum to give. Like, it's not, no. I don't think that you should ever be in a position to be like, it's me or this other person. No, he's already chosen. It's done.
Also, yeah, if you make someone choose an ultimatum, and they choose you, get ready for some resentment.
The same way you get them is the same way you lose them. So be very, very careful and be very, very cautious. My mother taught me that.
Yeah, go mom.
She says all the time.
Great.
Okay, this one. Let's see. My partner cheated on me 2 years ago. It's still hard to forgive him, but I'm not 100% sure that it stopped. How do I let it go? Should we just break up?
Yes.
Short answer. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's definitely a short answer.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like she wanted, like, first you get cheated on, and it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It embarrasses you. Part of the reason I think we want to forgive the people who cheat on us because our egos are hurt. And
I saw that TikTok you did.
If they can just forgive us, like I'll just forgive them. Fuck it, like it's fine. We worked through it,
mm-hmm.
So she tried. You tried. You couldn't. That's okay. And now you can leave knowing that like you have no regrets.
Yeah.
Like you can't. You need trust in a relationship, and it's not your fault they broke it,
mm-hmm.
And there's nothing you can't force yourself to trust someone. You can try, but it's just not going to work.
Yeah. I think in this situation, you have to give yourself the ultimatum. Like, honestly, you have to be like, is this okay with me moving forward? Is this something that I can sacrifice? Potentially getting cheated on again, especially if you're not 100% sure that it stopped. It doesn't sound like there's been kind of like a kibosh put on this situation. It sounds like you still think that he's out here doing the most.
Totally. And then like it's one of those things where I just like me getting cheated on and I was like 28 was changed my life in the best possible way, just because we all have egos, and I certainly have a big one, and I had a bigger one then. Actually, it's no different in size. I just can control it.
Mm-hmm.
I am aware that it exists, and I acknowledge it, and now I can like feel it creep up on me. And I remember I got cheated on. People were like, oh well, what happened? I'm like, oh, we just ended.
Yeah.
I was so embarrassed. And there's, again, a lot of power and not being afraid to tell people that you were cheated on. Because I'll tell you what, when you do, no one goes, oh.
Yeah. What did you do?
What? Oh, my God. Like,
yeah.
I need to leave. No one does that.
No
one. We all feel like that's going to happen. Everyone's like, oh, what a dick.
Mm-hmm.
They suck. Why would someone do that? But, our egos are the ones who are just like, don't fucking tell anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You're a loser. Like, why did you let him cheat on us?
Right.
Like, what the fuck?
And it's not you.
It's not.
I like to say I've never been cheated on to my knowledge. But if I was in the past or currently, that's not my business.
Yeah. Your ego's like this. Like, you could literally walk in on your partner, like, fucking someone else.
Yeah.
And your ego's over your shoulder being like, what'd you do?
Yeah.
Like,
why did you do that?
Do this?
Yeah.
But no one else is thinking that but your own ego.
Right. It's true.
Yeah.
So, move on, sweetie.
Yeah.
It's done.
Definitely let it go.
It's done. Okay. Do we have time for one more? Yay. Do we have time for two more? Hey, okay. There we go. Okay. This one comes from Bree. Bree says, Cammy. Okay, let me break it down for you. I've been dating this guy for 2.5 years, and I let it be known that I don't like when he follows other girls on Instagram, and that I don't think that he should be following them. So I made him unfollow everyone I was uncomfortable with at one point in our relationship. And I cut off social media for a mental break. She got off all social media, and she got back on without telling him. She goes back to see who he's following, and there's all these girls, of course. I confronted him. He unfollowed, but now I feel like he's been going out of his way to follow girls that he doesn't even know and like their pictures. I trust him. I don't think he would ever cheat on me. I know I have no control over that, but him liking these pictures makes me feel like he's giving them more attention than me. And why does he need to see that on his page? It goes it can go from Instagram models to your everyday girls, but they are so pretty. It's not as many as before, but still. We have known each other since high school and we have a history, so I think that's why I've stuck around so long. But I want to give him an ultimatum so he understands how it makes me feel. Am I crazy? Should I cut the cord? Thanks for listening.
So many nuggets in here.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about this with Natalie this morning. She sent me this TikTok that she's like, oh, you should like stitch this or duet this or something, and it blew up. And it was a girl, crying or fake crying or whatever. She was TikToking about this topic. She shouldn't give him an ultimatum, as we already discussed. Like, that's not gonna. And she might get in the short run term like what she wants, but eventually he's just gonna resent her for it.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like, I think this issue isn't solved with ultimatums or just hardline approaches. It's not a black and white issue, so to speak. Like, you just have to be able to have conversations, right? I think this is a really good opportunity in relationships to always think about what you're doing in the relationships or who you're following, and it's not just black and white either, too. Like, you could be like, well, I don't follow so-and-so. It's like, fine, but are you having any conversation whatsoever that might frustrate your boyfriend?
Bloop.
And you're not doing anything wrong, and you say you trust him, like, because she doesn't fully trust him, and that's fine. And maybe she doesn't trust herself. Maybe she's projecting her own bullshit. So at the end of the day, you do have to choose to trust your partner, and just, for me, I love that Natalie is gorgeous and attractive. I love knowing that she could have any guy she wants. I know she knows other public figures, or she's dated other people in the public eye, and I'm not a jealous or insecure guy. That doesn't mean I can't get jealous or insecure or ask her about it. I don't want to be like, you got to unfollow all these guys. Like, what is that? Like, I lose all that power when I do that. And I follow a bunch of beautiful women. I know them. I'm friends with them, and it's just like a weird thing to start making each other do things just to like not trigger our insecurities. So like, you can just talk to him and say, like, this does make me feel insecure, but then try to figure out why it makes you insecure, or talk about it. And there's certainly always situations where maybe there's this one person. Like, sometimes you do have a right in a relationship to be like, I don't know why this fucking person drives me nuts, but they just do, and I understand that it's a me thing, but just help me out here. And I think sometimes that's okay to do that, but I do think overall you have to be really careful not to expect your partner, like, to make it a full-time job to like walk like a tightrope, not to trigger any insecurity you have about some good looking, because at the end of the day, if they do want to cheat, they'll cheat, and it doesn't matter how good looking someone is or not, and things like that, and they're choosing to be with you. Like, that's what trust is, right? It's knowing that your partner, and that's why I don't believe in the one and only, because Natalie chooses to be with me, I choose to be with her. And sometimes our insecurities can like be triggered, and we can go, fuck, but you could like
you could go off. Who else is out there?
Like, I'll see her inbox, and it's just fucking blue check marks of like fucking dudes, know? And I have to like know or accept the fact that like I would rather be naive and have my ego tell me I'm a fool than be a cynic and not trust her. So I would rather, until she shows me otherwise, I choose to know that she chooses to be with me, and I choose to be with her. And yeah, I might get it wrong. She might crush me or break my heart, and she might prove me wrong, but I would rather feel, again, like a fool that one time and still realize, well, I guess I was wrong. I'll have to move on. And now I know I can move on, rather than the whole relationship constantly like be worrying about it and be like, well, you shouldn't talk to him because I know he wants to fuck you, or things like that, or you shouldn't follow him, because like, follow him or not, you could still go on their gram.
That's a fact.
Like,
that's a fact. We all have eyes. Like, we all listen. Nobody can act like they don't look. Everybody looks. Everybody see. You have. That's like you look.
Yeah.
But I think, as someone who's been in this situation, so I understand the feeling. And I think you're right to say that it is our ego that makes us be like, well, if they're liking this, like, does that mean something negative against me? Does that mean that they don't see me how they see this? And I think you know, there's boundaries and everything. If you've already had a conversation with him and told him, like, hey, listen, I would rather you not follow big booty bitches on Instagram.
Sure.
Like, if it depends. Like, there's, you know, I feel like there's levels.
No, I get it.
There's
yeah.
like, you know, pretty Instagram models, and then there's like girls who are busting it wide open on the gram. Like, I get it. You don't want to go on, you know, your For You page and see that your boyfriend is like the first like on some pussy pic. I understand.
Yeah. No,
like,
I'm totally with you.
There's
I
levels. There's
understand.
boundaries.
I get it.
You know? So I understand. And like, and as a woman, I feel like it kind of makes us kind of internalize and think like, okay, well, is that what he wants? Like, is that who he wants to be with? And that's not necessarily the case. I think it's okay, in my opinion, to give a one-time conversation. Like, this makes me uncomfortable.
Sure.
And explain why it makes you uncomfortable. Most guys, they love to say, it's just Instagram. It's not a big deal. It's just Instagram. It's just social media. But is it? Like, is it? Because I think that in a lot of times it can be like a slippery slope. And like, obviously, you know, there's plenty of places to get your visual fix. There's porn. There's all kinds of stuff that you can get involved in. But I think that for Instagram, because it's such a public thing, and like if you have mutual friends and they're seeing you follow these girls, and like, it just gets to be touchy. But I feel like you've already had the conversation. He did it again. Then you had another conversation. Then he did it again. He just wants to follow the bitches.
Yeah, there is that. Because I love how you said, like, listen, I'm just feeling a little uncomfortable here. And you're right. Sometimes I don't think you should like be testing your partner, but it's nice to know that you can tell your partner, this makes me feel uncomfortable, and they don't try to argue with you or explain to you like why it's not a big deal. They're just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I want you to be comfortable.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to do that.
And if he wants that, he'll stop.
Yeah. I do think, though, that he or she only has eyes for me is a toxic mindset in the sense that, like, listen, like, your partner thinks other people are hot.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's the, like, and if you're honest with yourself, so do you. And, like, I don't ask Natalie all the time, like, so, like, do you think he's hot?
Yeah.
Right? Like, but I just,
right?
Like, I'm okay that she can, like, be like, they're hot. Like,
yeah.
it's okay. And honestly, sometimes, like, that's, she was talking about Caitlin Carter, who's a friend on my podcast, like, her fiance, she was looking at her Instagram. It's like, her boyfriend's, like, super hot. I'm like, yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't bother me, you know? Like, he's a super hot guy. I didn't immediately be like, well, what about me? You know? So, but it's tough. I mean, it takes a lot, and a lot of it comes down to controlling our egos and just, you know, long-winded answer. Like, I think she needs to. Don't say you trust them if you really don't, and look at why you might have some trust issues, and maybe it is a projection of your own insecurities. Because like insecurities sometimes come from like jealousy comes from your insecurities, and your insecurities can come from your current partner doing something to trigger your insecurity, or it could be exes or something your parents did or whatever. So it's usually one of the two, and you just have to look at which one it might be.
I like to think that my partners that I've been with only had eyes for me, but that's not like the reality.
It's nice to think.
It's nice to think, but like if you yourself know that you can appreciate, I think that there's beauty in being able to appreciate beautiful people with your partner. Like my boyfriend and I will be hanging out, and like a beautiful girl will walk by and we'll be like, oh my God, like she was stunning. And if he says it back, like I'm not going to be like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah. And it
why are
goes
you looking
both
at her?
ways, you know?
Yeah,
with
exactly.
the guy too. And yeah, it's a fine line, right? And they might have eyes for other people, but you certainly want to be their favorite. And, and hopefully, like you always, like, I always want to be the hottie for my girlfriend, but I certainly do hope she loves a lot of more than just, you know, my face or my physical appearance. Although I definitely have a big enough ego that I still want to be, like, I don't want her to love me in spite of my face.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, it is a fine line. And I think the biggest thing is you just have to be willing to talk. And instead of giving ultimatums and making them feel like they're doing something wrong for being human, for things that you also probably do, I think it's okay to be like, I don't know, like, this is just, I'm a little uncomfortable. Can you help me out? Like, I don't care whether you're calling customer service or talking to your partner. If you ask for help, they're just, people like to help people.
Yeah.
It's a lot easier to communicate that way rather than, telling someone they're doing something wrong.
Right. But don't let him make you feel badly for doing it that way.
And then like how they respond can be a big indicator of whether they're your soulmate, so to speak, if they get defensive or accusatory or start pointing the finger at you, and because the only right answer is sure, babe, I'm okay.
Yeah, no problem. That simple. Okay. One more. I had one. It was right here. Where'd she go? Oh, here we go. Okay. Cammie, I've been looking for advice for a long time, but I can't seem to find the answer. I've been dating men and women most of my life. I've always left my girlfriend for a man, but never the other way around. Anytime I've been exclusive with a female, I've always wondered if I wanted a man instead. Every time I date a man, I know they aren't the one. Females give me all the feels. I'm currently dating a female of over a year, while at the same time, I have one of my exes, a man that has re-entered my life. I feel like I want to create a family with him, but I can't break up with my girl. She also feels like my person. He knows about her. She knows nothing about him. I don't know what to do. Do I take my chances with him, or do I contribute being with my girl? Oh, no, it was a typo. Or do I continue being with my girl and not be 100% satisfied? This is more of a self-ultimatum.
How old is this person?
It seems like she's young, like probably 20s.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good chance neither are her person. I mean, there's exceptions to every rule, but like 99 times out of 100, getting back with your ex is just not. You have someone who's proven you don't work with, and then you have a billion other people in the world that you could like have a shot with.
Yeah.
And I think also people forget that like every relationship you have except for one is going to end, and for the most part we're all looking for just one. And she should definitely just be honest with both people, so she's definitely getting that wrong. I can't really speak, I'm not bisexual, and I can't really speak to the fact that she always seems to leave women for men and not vice versa, but it's okay to, I think the biggest takeaway is, I don't know how her age is, but it's okay for her to say, I don't know who I am yet. So I don't know what I want. How can we know what we want when we don't know who we are? And I think I don't know if I really know who I was until I was 30. I think we're all maturing later in life with the way, the world is. And so I think it's okay to just be honest with, like, I'm still figuring out me. So I'm just going to keep dating these people. This woman, wants a family. Now, does she want it a more traditional way with a man, or with a woman, and, adopt or have a surrogate and things like that? These are things that she's going to have to answer for herself. And I think those are big life choices that she should be okay with being patient on. Like, these are big choices, so no need to rush, and be open to the possibility you just haven't met your person yet.
Right. I mean, this is obviously like a personal ultimatum with herself that she's going to have to make at some point. I don't think that she's ready to do it right now.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend right now, literally, who just got out of a relationship with a man. She came out as bisexual. Now she's like dating women for the first time, and she wants to see what that's like. Try it out. But like, don't get locked down with anybody. Like, be single. I think, listen, I'm not bisexual, but I'm gonna tell you to be single. That's my advice, because I feel like you just need time to explore the options. And I think that at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if you end up with a man or a woman or what you end up with. It's who you're happiest with and who you decide that, like, okay, this is actually my person, because this is the person that I'm choosing to actually commit to and like settle down with and relax.
Totally. And the fact that she's considering an ex means that, it's a comfort zone thing. It's a convenient, he obviously brings something to the table. I don't know what it is that she knows she can get from him, that she doesn't want to waste the time and energy to find with some other guy, but like, it didn't work with him for whatever the reason. So if you want to date men, there's zillions out there. I know. Like, oh, there's no great people. Like, there are. Yeah. You just gotta be patient.
There's probably like a toxic thing that's drawing her back to this man.
For sure.
Because I feel like your exes, they never have anything new to say. You know, you gotta just Leave them.
We
Leave them
just
in the
have
past.
this really weird ability to forget everything we hated about them when we're bored or
Yeah.
unsatisfied in our current situations, and then only to get reminded of them. It's just like, oh no, now I remember why I hate you.
Yeah. So now I'm really done. And then you go back.
Yeah.
And it's just like a cycle.
Yeah.
It's time to just be done with
Keep
him.
shopping. you
Yeah.
know?
Keep shopping.
If you are talking to your ex because, that means you're not getting something from her, and the fact that you're considering, and he's not your guy.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Damn. See, this is the advice that people need to hear, but they don't want to hear. But you're right. And I hate to say it.
I think we just have to be patient,
Yeah. And have conversations.
and have conversations. I know our parents got married and had kids by the time they're 25. This is not the world we are in, and nor do we want to be, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But, stop watching. I started watching Sex and the City.
The best. The best.
Depends. I'm honestly curious. Like, do you consider Carrie Bradshaw a role model?
No.
Okay.
Carrie
thank you.
is a psycho.
She's a psycho. She's toxic.
So is Big.
She's relatable, maybe. But
Aiden was the one.
yeah, I'm familiar. I know the characters, but I never really watched it.
I'm
watching
not gonna,
watching it now.
I won't.
I know that she gets engaged to Aiden and then doesn't work out, and she ends up with Mr. Big. But early on, Carrie, I'm just like, what the fuck, Carrie? Like,
Yeah. And anyone who loves Big is a masochist. You need to talk about that in therapy, because there's
haven't gotten
nothing
that
about
far
him. He's a shitty person.
well, so far, early on in the first, at least the first 10 episodes. Again, I don't know what he does, and I hear it, but like he is honest and direct, and he's pretty clear.
You like Mr. Big?
No. I'm just simply saying, in the first couple episodes, like the first 5 or 6 episodes, she meets Mr. Big, and he's just like, listen, I've been in love before. I've been married. I cheated. I cheated. Like, he owns his shit, right? And he is setting boundaries. Like, hey, she goes, we've been dating for several months, and I don't know what several months means, but he's just like, I'm not necessarily. And like, he's at an age where he's just like, I'm not bringing every girlfriend I have home to mom right away, or. He has these boundaries of which she is just like, no. They're literally about to go on their first trip together. First trip. Like, they don't even know if they travel well together. And she's like, I need to know I'm the one. And he's just like, I don't, huh? And she breaks up with him.
Yeah.
For that.
Good.
Well, how is that good?
It's good.
It's not good. And I'm not defending Mr. Big. I don't know what he does. But
If
in
you
that
like
moment,
Mr. Big, we will throw away this whole podcast
I don't
episode.
like Mr. Big. I'm just saying, in that moment, he was simply saying, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear just because I know it'll make you happy. And it seems a little nutty for me to tell you that you're the one when we've been dating for a couple months.
Okay, so when we were supposed to be wrapping this up, and now you just opened a whole can of worms. When do you think that you should know? Like, what's the timeline of when you should know that you want to commit to someone?
I don't really know. I think everyone's different. I just think we have to remember that it takes a real long time to really get to know someone, and then after we get to know them, we have to still keep learning about them.
That's true.
Nellie and I have been together for over a year. We've known each other for almost 2 years now, and we had dinner last Saturday, and for the first time, we really talked about kind of like our past relationships, to the extent we talked about, like, the past trauma we both experienced, or just like our toxic, just our shit that we've dealt with. And it wasn't like, because usually when you date early on, you're just like, don't talk about your exes, don't bring it up. You don't want to sound like you're into them. And that's true. And so, like, you're in the honeymoon stage, and you're just like, I don't know, we don't need to, like, sit there and talk about our exes.
Yeah.
But, like, I do feel like I know her better because we've been together for this long, and we weren't, like, talking and reminiscing. It was more like, I've put up with some shit. And also, like, you know what? I've done some shit, you know? These are the bad choices I've made, and vice versa. And I think it's nice to know about your partner's history or your past, but there's a time and a place to learn that. And usually that's not in the first few months, because, like, you can do it too early, and all of a sudden it brings up, like, are you really over it, or what's going on? So I'm just simply saying, like, it takes time to get to know someone, and we don't have to know in the first few months, and that's okay. And we can feel like we're in love, and that's why people are like, well, you told me you love me. It's just like, well, now I know this.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it shit takes time, and everyone's different. So that's all I'm saying.
I'm calling you Mr. Big from now on.
I'm not saying, I did not do what Mr. Big
This is going to
did.
upset a lot of people.
I'm not defending Mr. Big.
This is
saying,
controversial.
I'm just saying Carrie's a little toxic.
She is. She is. I agree. But Mr. Big is trash.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, I'm just not there. I haven't seen the trash
You
yet.
will see.
I'm just saying.
And you'll be back to talk about it.
Not saying I love you when she's like giving him an ultimatum.
Yeah.
Is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. Well, she gets karma served back to her several times, so you'll see. I won't give it away, but obviously you have to come back so we can have a whole episode about Carrie and Big, because that is like a case study.
No, it's a great show, and I think there's a lot of helpful takeaways. It's just more. I was honestly curious because I was under the impression that Carrie Bradshaw was a role model.
No.
And she's definitely not.
No.
Okay.
Nor a fashionista, because she's made some questionable decisions
Right.
when it comes to those outfits. Anyways, thank you so much for coming.
Thanks so much for having me.
This was so great. You have to come back. Tell everyone where to find you.
You can find me at Nick Viall on Instagram and TikTok. The Viall Files is anywhere you stream or listen to your podcasts. We also, if you like watching podcasts, we're on YouTube. And that, yeah.
Follow the TikTok with caution, because
it's a strong cup of coffee.
Yeah, it's a triggering place.
Yeah, sorry, my bad.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hi, I'm Cammie Crawford, host of the Relationshit podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more videos, click below to subscribe and like this video for more Dear Media content. So shut up and listen.